So I guess I'm going to put together another training journal here. I don't really have a plan or a schedule of how often I want to upkeep these, nothing like that. It's more of when something feels different and I can put it into words. And then I want to talk about it. So I guess that's what this is. I don't know, it's been a little while since my last one. And I mentioned a couple things that were on the way of shifting, and it feels like the last couple days for me specifically, just everything shifted in what feels like a sudden way, but in a really good way. My arch had collapsed. It was pulling my knee in, my hip was all tight, and through just standing posture and these opening exercises, as well as some advice I got through actually one of the instructors, to rebuild my arch. And it's slowly lifting up away from the floor, and that's really, really cool. But what's even more cool is in this part of my foot, I can now put weight there and I can feel weight going there. And I'm not sure when I couldn't feel that before. I'm just kind of not aware of if I could or couldn't feel it before. Comparatively, it felt numb to how it feels now. It's very, very strange how I'm getting that back. And the inside arch of my foot, it actually feels like it's pulling away from things. It feels warped. It feels sore when I'm done, but then it feels better. And it's very strange, and it changes the alignment up through the knee. And I can actually relax weight down that leg now, whereas I didn't realize I couldn't do that before. So there's a lot of changes on that side. But actually, most of the changes that happened were with my shoulders. And it's just strange. So I have this whole set of stretches, exercises, whatever you want to call them, that I go through. And a number of these, like somewhere between 7 and 9, are focused mainly on like kind of the upper body, has a lot to do with the shoulders, forearms, hands, wrists. Kind of involves everything, but it focuses on the shoulder area. These are really, really difficult ones for me to do. I don't like the idea of doing them until I'm doing them and I realize, oh, this is actually really nice. So actually getting my shoulder bone alignment, putting the pieces of my skeleton in a better alignment has made such a difference for everything. And I'm able to feel something I couldn't feel before. So I'm gonna try to describe this in the best way I can. And before I really get into it, just a recap on the PSA. Nothing in this video is meant to instruct anybody's training. I'm not trying to teach you how to do these things. I'm just explaining to you what it feels like for me personally to go through this training, coming from an external martial arts perspective, going into internal martial arts. That's all this is. So these are my opinions, things that are happening to me. These may or may not happen to you. I'm probably way more tight and different than you, so whatever. But some of the things I could say could be wrong. I might look back in a couple of years, a month even, and go, wow, that was wrong. And I'm glad I found out that I was doing something wrong. That's totally possible. So don't take any of this as training advice. Yeah, I'm not going to be giving details on the exercises. So with that out of the way, with my shoulders especially, I'm able to feel more and more when they're in place, out of place. And there's a significant tangible difference from the feeling I have in my arm, separate from the rest of my body when I do that. The difference is crazy. It doesn't feel like my arm is connected unless I put it into place. And I'm doing this with my left arm specifically because this one has lots of scar tissue and there's like metal pins and stuff in there. It's kind of a mess. So it's taking me extra time. The right side feels a lot better, which is not something I ever thought I'd say. But there's a lot to work through in those areas. And it's a very complicated joint. I underestimated how complex this whole section of the body really is. There's so much muscle and so much connective tissue and directions that things can go or not go in my case. And so trying to loosen those up. So I'm rambling. there's always so much. I don't know whether I should just let myself do these whenever I feel like they're necessary or slow down. I have no idea. I got no gauge for this and whatever. But pulling the bones into better alignment and getting the tissues around that area to loosen and soften up where I can do that, it changes all the opening exercises that I do. So there are ones where I felt like I was pushing. I was only pushing so much because things just weren't connected. And now that shoulder can be in better alignment and I go to push, now it feels like the rest of me is in that push. Now it feels like my shoulder is active in pushing as well as the other parts I could feel before. And that leads me to some of the other things is when I go to realign my shoulder, which is an active thing I have to do at the moment, and then get things to relax, not just in my shoulder, but now I can feel down in my arm. So I can get things to relax my arm, which is completely new to me. I'd be doing standing posture and we'd get to the arm and I would do my best and try to get things to release and then just move on to the next one. Try my best, move on to the next one, because that's the advice I was given. So I'm gonna just do that. And now that I can get to my arms, it's a very strange feeling. So I feel as though I can drop body weight down into my tricep bicep area, which then I can get to my elbow, and I have to refocus my elbow and then do the same to just let things stop gripping so hard. And it feels like it fills up with body weight is what it feels like. And then as I get to my elbow, it starts to pull, it feels like it's tugging my shoulder, again, left side, a little bit more. It feels like it's stretching things open. So then I get to my forearm, and on my left side it's not the best, but on my right side I can get to elbow, and I can start to get in my forearm, which is something completely new to me altogether, because I'm used to my forearms being pieces of rock. I play a lot of guitar, and I do a lot of kobudo. Those two things combined, your forearms get pretty big, and they stay rock hard most of the day. So, in fact, I'm kind of chiseling away at that where it feels like I'm getting body weight there. It's the best way I can put it. Excuse me, I don't know if that bird came through in the cameras. And then when I get past my forearm, I get to my wrist, and it feels as though I can stretch. This doesn't sound so stupid. But the best way I can think of it is like I can stretch my bones apart. I can stretch my joints open. It's really strange. Things, they feel like they're expanding away from each other a little bit. And I can actively do that. And as I do, the structures that I'm taking in form make sense. They feel really good. They feel like this is probably the best posture for my arm at that moment. And you just kind of expand into it. It's really strange. And the body weight explanation is the best I can give, because if I'm standing, say I'm standing really tall and things are pretty stiff, I'm pulling up away from the floor, which is pretty typical, at least for me. And then I actively release that grip and stop fighting gravity. I feel body weight physically drop through the body down to the bottoms of my feet. I feel like I'm more oriented weight-wise down near the floor than up here, and especially up here, as things sink, literally, just sink lower down towards the floor. And I'll move a little bit, but it doesn't match how much heavier things feel down there versus up here. The change inside is a lot more drastic than I ever thought it was going to be. And then I get that feeling, even 2% of that sinking feeling I can get through my arm, and it's more than I've ever had. And it feels good. It feels really good that I think that's something right. We'll find out. But that's about where I am with that right now. I might have an instructor be like, wow, that's because you're doing this one thing with your elbow wrong. And I'm going to go, oops, my bad. Yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments. I I read every comment I get, and it's really kind of fun to see that because I'll see people chatting about different styles and their experience with so and so. I saw somebody that was in there from Demo Mitchell School. It's really cool. That's really cool. So I guess keep on training, guys.